be looking at Blast again. It's going to be a common theme until we see Blast launch. We're going to be seeing a lot of activity. And now that we have the Blast competition only a few days away, happening in 4 days on February 20th, there are going to be a plethora of companies that you didn't even know were being built break through the quiet phase and start launching and talking about what they're building. And I think you will see more and more money being bridged there, so we're going to keep that on. Portal Coin announcing more games, activity on their tweets increasing, team is sounding bullish, keep your eyes there. And then we're going to talk about our favorite member of the 555 community who's launching their next project, Nate Alex with Natives. Get excited. It's going to be a very interesting project. I'm so happy to cover it. Let's hop into it. Good to see everybody this morning. Jake, GM, good to see you in the chat. A lot going on today. Let's just hop straight into what we're doing and seeing in the market. As we saw, we had some CPI and PPI numbers come out this week. However, crypto remains strong, and we are seeing a little bit of a pullback here in the market. Bitcoin was up into the 52,000 numbers, approaching 53. Maybe not all the way, but it was up there, pulling back a little bit. Ethereum feeling a little bit more over the last 24 hours, pulling back 1.5% down to 27.85. And even Solana feeling, again, increased leverage and pullback there, and down 5% almost to $110. It's clear we're seeing inflation go up. The markets are not reacting. Also, crypto and our expected securities are not performing like we've seen them. They're not trading hand in hand quite as much. It's super interesting to see this. I do think that it should be noted that historically we have seen crypto have a very rough second half of February. If you look back every year and you pull up a chart, you can actually see that historically we are expected to pull back here. I also don't think that it would be unreasonable, given the gains and the increases that we've seen, to see some pullbacks here. Nothing too crazy to note individually on the market right now. Understand that we are kind of taking a little sigh, a little break here on all of the rips up. The NFT market also continues though to kind of hold their spots. Nothing too crazy. We're not seeing volume spike or go nuts. The one kind of outlier there being Moonbirds has increased a little bit on their floor, and they are still kind of approaching that 2 ETH mark, sitting at 1.86, which I find absolutely kind of crazy. Pudgies and Bored Apes still 3 ETH apart. They've held that kind of buffer pretty heavily, and it's interesting to see that. Mutant Ape Yacht Club has increased with volume. However, I think there is a little bit of wash trading and back and forth going on there to an extent, which doesn't surprise me. And then Doodles having a bit of a pullback here, now approaching 3 ETH. If they do go under 3 ETH and they start approaching 2 again, in some sense, that would be a great buying opportunity given what that chart looks like. It's going to be an exciting weekend, because I think for the first time during this week, and understand what happens on weekends, everybody steps away for a second, markets start to move, and everybody's going to come back Monday, and they're going to make their reactionary trades, and they step away when things start to move, and then they have to, be reactive, not proactive, and they're not staying in front of their computer the whole weekend. I refuse. I'm not doing that. I'm staying in front of my computer the entire weekend. I'll be trading. I'm going to be watching for deals, looking for opportunities, because we are truly back in a bull market. It means you got to be on top of it at all times. Let's hop straight into our news right after and do some analysis right after we point out that on top of us seeing more activity on ETH NFTs, we are starting to see more and more volume and larger purchasing power come in. Even though these aren't too crazy and they're not too far off floor, I think it does tell an interesting story that bids are picking up and that we are seeing people try to go after non-floor items in all collections, and that's kind of an indicative of us seeing there be an appetite and people are understanding that, hey, the market is about to start up. They are going and flooding to assets that they think will be around and sticking around for the rest of the market. Bored Ape Yacht Club, no matter no matter what the FUD is, no matter what you think about them, no matter what you think they're going to do, it's very clear that people are still looking for entry into these and have an expectation that the floor will go up. Punks, regardless of what your thoughts are there, it's very clear that money is flooding into them and funneling into them. They're being a great aggregator of wealth on the NFT market. So understand is like I go and trade. Let's say I go and trade Pandora. And I go make $100,000 off of that mint and trading. That money will eventually flow down to punks in some way. Like the people doing this are looking, if it stays in NFTs, flooding down to what we truly call those blue chip items. Let's hop right into it and get into the core of the news and what we see happening in the market. Coinbase. Ooh, lovely. Look at this chart. This is insane. Yesterday, we saw about $162 price going into earnings. I'm trading between 170 and 160. That then ripped all the way up to 190, basically up to our previous all-time high for this run up. Obviously, all-time high is a little bit higher, almost $400 on this chart. But it's very clear that earnings were good. But notably, I think the earnings told a very interesting story, and you need to understand this because of what was said during, and what wasn't said actually as well, during the earnings call, and what it indicates for where in the market we are and what's happening. And this is Q4, so understand this isn't what was happening in the last 2 months. But CB Duck posted this, and I think it's dead on. It kind of encapsulated all my thoughts as well. The number one being that retail is coming back. It's very clear. Retail is coming back. Consumer, revenue generated off of consumers, and the number of consumers is up. They are also getting smarter and they're getting more accustomed to trading. And that is shown through the use of the advanced trade platform that they have. And so if you put those two together, not only are we seeing retail return, not only are we seeing retail feel more comfortable with putting more money into not NFTs, but the crypto market and using Coinbase, but they're also more accustomed to trading. It's not just the boomer, hey, I'd like to buy Bitcoin, and you just type in, I want $100, and they hit you with like a $150 buy fee. It's the actual trading interface. They have, the depth charts. They actually have limit order, market order buys in front of them. It's not just the boomer, hey, buy Bitcoin. That's it. You can't see anything. They also noted that expense control was in check, which was important, that they are still operating a very fiscal company, and they're being very sure not to go too crazy with the spending. And then a different one on the FASB side of things, the way that they do accounting is going to change. They did not take this into effect, and they did not talk about this, but that is estimated to be around a $2 earnings per share change. And so I believe the reported earnings per share was about $1, which was estimated to be about 1 cent. This would essentially be pricing in an earnings per share to be reported at around $3 and over $3 with those accounting standards changing. Notable thing to look at. They left out a lot. They didn't talk as much about how much they were earning off of stable coins. I think it was like some ridiculous number. I think it was like 11% or something crazy of revenue was generated through stablecoin fees. There's a lot going on with what they're doing. Big shout out to CB Duck for providing not only the spreadsheet, but also his thoughts. Again, I agree on them, and I'm glad he did that. real quick, just take a chat, look at the chat. Philip asking, what do you think about Arnault's son who is selling his punk, but said it's double the price? Look, the same way that we see people shell their bags, and the same way, you know, a lot of these news pieces here are projects and they're individuals and they're taking actions. You have to understand, you can sell anything for what you want to sell it for, and you can market it that way if you want to. I think that Philip is looking at this and saying, well, I own it, so it might be worth more. And obviously by him even doing this, it's gotten attention. So I do think that, you know, while I don't value that asset and I don't think his provenance adds anything to it, for me personally, and I wouldn't be making investments off of who's owned an item unless it's super significant. Think 3 Arrow Capital. Think, you know, if Italic, I think that it has to be at that level. If Italic owned a Pudgy Penguin, then I think that demands a premium. But I don't think somebody who's a very rich man or somebody who's a very rich man's son should demand a double price for their punk. But it's very standard. Like, you can look at the assets, it's not worth what he's asking. So let's hop into the Fed making a pro stablecoin statement. Very interesting to see this. You can go ahead and check this out on CoinDesk, but it's interesting to see more and more people, like we talked about yesterday on the show, CNBC anchors pushing back on Gensler's absolutely horrid takes on what's happening on the blockchain and how cryptocurrencies are being used, and telling him basically there's crime and terrible things that happen with dollars. Love to see that, but also seeing this absolutely makes me ecstatic to know that there are true people who are in power within the Fed and within our government who are basically calling things correctly. And I think this is very true. Stablecoins are doing the dollar a favor. And essentially, the whole antithesis to this, and I don't want to go through the whole article here, but the antithesis for this is that the government and many people really truly do want a centrally backed digital currency. And I do think that they're trying to position themselves and the government and the US to be in a way where they're making the most money, and they are in the position. And the US, while their biggest powerhouse is the military, their true powerhouse is the US dollar. The strength that it has, and what they're, you know, the fact that they're able to print more, the fact that that's where all of their debt is, the fact that, you know, everything, all the other countries kind of denominate what they're doing in dollars. They don't want to lose that power. And I think that there are some critics that are starting to come out of the woodwork and explain why stablecoins and other cryptocurrencies are good for the US and good for the dollar. So love to see that. Keep that on your radar. Portal Coin has announced yet another game here. I am expecting more games to be announced. I have to disclose that I am a seed investor, so not public round, but seed. Prior to that, invested in this. I obviously can't talk too much about what they're doing, but I do want to highlight that the games that they've announced have increased. We are expecting them to continue announcing things around games, and I am very excited for what they have coming up. I know people have been screaming TGE, where's TGE? I've been screaming, you know, let's go, let's get things going. But I do think that them taking their time, figuring things out, not rushing into it, is the best call. And I do think that everybody's going to be extremely happy with the direction they're going, the mechanics they're building. I do think they will be a central part of the gaming narrative going forward. They're not just trying to build one game, they're trying to build an ecosystem of games all along one one mechanism for how currencies move and how items are moved between games and how you sign in and governance between items. So keep that on your radar. I know a lot of people have forgotten and haven't been as active on the marketing side of things, but I do expect that all to spin up soon. A non-crypto related item, but it is crypto in some way and blockchain related. OpenAI announcing Sora, text to video model, absolutely breathtaking stuff. I mean, understand this is not real. What you are watching is not real. And though we see a lot of people kind of saying, well, OpenAI doesn't have a token, they don't have this, they're still building incredible tech. And this incredible software requires incredible hardware, and that incredible hardware is being pushed to its limits. And as we see this demand for compute power and GPU power increase, and as we see the exposure and the sunrise of new fake content or AI generated content, there's going to be more and more demand for finding truth, proving something is fake or real, provenance of where something has come from. As you can tell, all the words I'm using are starting to lean towards blockchain and NFT technology. So there is the case that as we see all of this great stuff happening in AI, that it pushes more demand and it increases prices, it increases the AI tech sector of blockchain, it increases the media side of blockchain substantially. So I think everybody should be asking themselves, where should they be looking? Obviously, AI, SocialFi is going to be interesting. I think we're going to have an incredible increase on demand for proving who originally posted a photo and where that photo or video was generated from. I think that's all on the table and should be being looked at. Blast might have some. We're going to be doing a dive into some of that today on the media side and SocialFi side. But definitely, this is relative news and something you should have your eyes on. I said this yesterday, and Pudgies are going to get a lot of free money this cycle. So I wanted to talk about something else we saw yesterday. We've already seen DYM. We've seen some others come out, but now we have Gains tweeting yesterday, camera emoji, penguin emoji, fishing rod emoji, penguin snapshot taken. It's very clear that they're going to be giving free money. And the number one thing you have to understand here is that Pudgies are not reaching out to people. People are coming to Pudgy, or not even asking Pudgies. They're just saying, hey, what is the number one project right now? And who are the biggest holders and where are the biggest whales at? And can we give them an airdrop to get them into our service? And they use our product and maybe they stay. That is the mental thought exercise right now. So the other question here is, if Pudgies fall off, will this continue? Obviously not, because all of these projects are asking, what is the most culturally relevant? Where is the most money? Like, again, those questions. And they are airdropping it. So, obviously it's very clear. Gains loves this. Look at this. By just tweeting that and saying, hey, we're giving everybody free money, everybody starts following Gains. And these are the type of followers. These are the type of users you want. They're the people with money. They're the people who obviously called it correctly. They are looking to get on to the next trend because they were able, this is the thought process exercise. So I think you're going to see more and more of this. Yesterday I said expect over 250,000 if you're a Pudgy at this point. I think my kind of crazy expectation is that we see deep into the six figures airdrop to Pudgy Penguins this cycle. I don't think we've even gotten close to airdrop season. I think it's starting, but I think that we're probably going to see from a number standpoint, the peak happen around Blast. So that maybe a little bit into April. It's all going to be in conjunction. It's going to be a real shit show. Let's be straight with it. With the halving, Blast, with more and more money flooding in, there's just going to be a complete moment where it's mayhem. And the number one thing here is I think the scammers are going to eat, because we see a lot of these airdrops and snapshots being taken, and it's a little time sensitive, and everybody's trying to find new mechanics. I do think also, as we talked yesterday, there are new mechanics that are keeping people from selling. They're rewarding staking. And so I think we're going to start to see also more cross project collaboration effects, where a company will airdrop to a project, and then another airdrop will happen from a company who's like partnered with them, and they'll say like, hey, the multiplier here is if you stake or don't sell the other airdrop, or you're holding this and multiplies it so it takes off sell pressure. There's going to be all crazy mechanics we see, but understand this for sure. Now, blast. Listen up, man. Also, it's great to be back doing this stuff. Also sorry for the delay, but Blast is I'm gonna talk every day about it, I swear. If you don't like that, you can scream at me in the chat, you can get upset. I'm gonna talk about Blast every day, and it's because I still think this is it. This is like the craziest thing that's happening right now within everything L2, and I think it's going to spur or spawn an absolute insane number of companies that are doing insanely cool and interesting things, that have an insane amount of money day one within their ecosystem and using these different products. So today is the last day for the Big Blast competition, and there are an insane amount. Oh, okay, I gotta find a different word than that. But there are a lot of companies. There are a lot of companies that are building. I think it's over 3,000 now. It's probably approaching 4,000. We are seeing a lot. And so we'll look at a couple of companies. I posted in my Discord a full breakdown of all of those companies and what they look like. Bankless highlighted 5 here that we'll look at real quick, and I'll agree or disagree with them. Biconomy was the first one they posted. Gas fees is going to be a huge point that we see, especially with layer 2s. Dichotomy is super interesting. I know a lot of others that are doing things within the gas saving side. I know Raby Wallet is doing integrated gas reduction stuff. GasHawk also doing stuff. We are going to see this be a huge friction point where the end user this cycle does not want to pay insane fees. 2021 cycle, people are totally fine. It's part of the game. If I got to pay $400 in gas fees to mint this, shitty NFT that's going to make me $3,000, cool. Part of business. But now we see that, especially with the rise of Solana, especially with the rise of Arbitrum, fees are a pressure point, and it makes users want to get away from what they are doing. So Biconomy, I'm assuming just based on the name, is figuring out ways to figure out reduction of gas fees and computing on different layers and coming back to main chain, something like that. We'll have to take a deeper look because it is an interesting aspect. Particle, I think this is going to truly be one of the biggest ones to watch, as well as Thruster. Particle, Thruster, I would say are like the top 2 to keep an eye on. I think Thruster will be our big DEX. Pump, I also agree on this one. I think it'll be one of the number 1 meme coins that we see come out of the cycle. I also think that while this is mentioned here, I'm not going to take any specifics on games or NFTs, but I do think that there will be a strong ecosystem used on top of the Blast layer that is being built by the gaming side of things. But at the end of the day, and it's the number 1 thing, even though there's going to be a lot of attention, a lot of money here, it will depend on the end project if it's gaming. If it's not fun, if it's not good, if it gets boring, if it's farmy, get it out of here. Not good. I'll also note, and this is, I'll pull up the PDF in a second here and we can walk through it. And this wasn't mentioned, but also one that's not on there is Juice. Super excited for them. A lot of cool stuff happening. If you haven't, check them out. Understand that Blast is also quote tweeting and retweeting a lot of this. If you don't have Blast notifications on, or you're not checking the Blast Twitter every day, you're probably missing some alpha. Make sure you're following all these projects, doing deep dives, talking to them, trying to figure out if they have something pre-open for testing, or they're already out and you can use their product in some sense, and basically be more positioned if they do an airdrop, or if they are distributing developer rewards from the competition. Make more of that. We'll pull up this entire PDF that was produced I forget who actually, Blastonaut, yes, producing this. So it's an entire look of the Blast ecosystem. It is missing some, like I said, so Juice should be down here, miscellaneous / DeFi, and I did make a note of that. But right now, and as I said yesterday, it's infrastructure, DeFi, NFTs. You have your SocialFi, GambleFi. You have some stuff on perps. You have some on yield. You have some on gaming. There are meme coins. Understand there are all these different niches. And within that competition, understand that within each of these categories, they're going to pick a winner. They're going to say, hey, this is what we think is the coolest one that's within this category. They get an award, and they're going to get additional rewards from Blast, which is important to watch. And I think also understanding that there will be an overall winner for all of this, and that's going to be the one to watch, in my opinion. So, as far as this goes and where my attention is, it's on infrastructure, it's on DeFi, it's on SocialFi, it's a little bit on GambleFi. I'm still trying in GameFi, trying to understand what makes the most sense here and what is the best way forward. I'm still a little confused here, but I have made some notes for what I'm excited about. On the meme side, Pew, Pump, obviously, perp side, Particle, as mentioned. I did highlight a few here. DeFi, so Juice, Thruster, Blaster Swamp, SocialFi. We did for GambleFi, Insert, IKB, Blastoise, Risk on gambling. I do think you need to understand this list, and if you don't have it, I'll provide a link below, or check my Twitter. I'll post it there. You can also go on, actually, I'll tell you exactly where to find this. You can go on Pluid.com. If you go to latest articles, there's one on Blast, an incredible write-up. Again, Pluid.com has been posting some amazing content and research around the Blast ecosystem. They're going to continue to post more because of all of the stuff that we will see coming out. Again, today's the last day to enter for this competition, and they become kind of like part of this initial ecosystem launch. And then on the 20th, they're having a live stream. I will do a stream within that stream. I'll be making notes and coming away with my thoughts for that. So definitely stay tuned for that. Just some notes there. So today it ends at midnight Pacific time, and then they'll actually post the links off of the Blast L2 Twitter for the live judging event, and then those are announced the next day. Again, please do not fade this. There's so much good stuff happening on Blast, and there's going to be so much money you can be made. So I'm going to keep talking about it and keep screaming about it until it happens. Oh, Nate Alex. Oh my. Nate Alex, I was so confused by this. So confused. Also, if you're on Twitter watching, tag Nate Alex. Let's get him in here. But Nate Alex, I could not understand why a man refused to announce his project until he had a rubber stamp. Why? Like, unreal. Now it makes sense. Now it all is starting to make sense. So he waits again. He announces his first project. The project is called Primitives. Didn't like it. And then essentially says, hey, we're renaming the project. We're fixing some stuff. And orders another rubber stamp. He's like, I can't announce it till I get my new rubber stamp. Gets one called Natives, announces the name. And then today announcing this photo, 333 of the 729. There's only 729 NFTs within this project. It's very clear now that there is a physical component made to it. It's very clear that there is a tribe side to this. So I believe he hinted at 7 different tribes, and that there is a lot within the words and calligraphy side. It's exciting. Not many people are trying to go outside of the norm and build something unique. And that's because why try to fix something that's not broken? Or why try to, add risk onto putting time and money into deploying and building a project when you've seen all these other copycats make millions? This should be rewarded. 100% should be rewarded. It's why it's on the top of my radar for projects that are being built right now, because of how unique It is, and also obviously he's a friend, and obviously he's an OG, and he's done very well for himself. Like, remove all that. This is just cool. It's very interesting, and it intrigues you and it pulls you in. So I'm for sure going to be minting this. It's hard. Like I said, they're only allocating so many mints out. I think there might be a little bit of public sale. I am trying to secure a couple spots for 555. I'm praying Nate makes it happen. But yes, Radar, cool project. Expect some fireworks and some unexpecteds within this. The last topic I wanted to go over is inflation. Wiz posted this. Wasn't fully on my radar today, but PPI and CPI came in higher. The big note here is inflation's up. And as I noted at the very beginning of the show, while inflation is up, we aren't seeing as big of an impact as we might expect. And there is a divergence between how stocks, bonds, securities are all performing within each other and how that relationship's working. This is not good. We don't want to see inflation going up. I think also it should be noted that the month over month has started to very clearly have an increase trend. And this needs to turn around, or we need to see this reduce for us to be on the same path that we were previously expecting for cuts, et cetera, and what the Fed was going to do. Wiz also noting here, again, market doesn't care. But the market at some point will start to care if inflation continues to go up. So this should be under radar as much as we like to think within the NFT and crypto and shitcoin space that what's happening with the global economy doesn't matter, and what the Fed's talking about doesn't matter. It does. We're far past the days of us being in a completely different bubble and environment and ecosystem than Wall Street and the Fed. They're becoming more and more synonymous with each other. There's more and more being pulled together, and you have to become, as an investor and a trader and an ecosystem user, a multi-educated person and open to understanding some of these different things. Understanding what CPI is, understanding what PPI is, educating yourself on historical moves within the Fed and how the Fed operates, how inflation has been tackled on the previous past. You need to become educated. That's the number way. If you want to make money in this market, it's not just watching what other people are doing or drawing lines on a chart. It's skills. It's skills and education. That's a number one investment you can make. That and a notebook. Buy a notebook, write everything down, be making notes, writing down what you did well, what you missed, what you are super happy with. It's education and skills. That's the investment you should be making, and understanding how the people that you look at and are like, holy crap, they're doing so amazing. How are they doing that? It's likely that they are, again, teaching themselves, investing in educational, products. And I'm not saying go join a call group and pay money to that, but there are you can go out there and pay for a course on understanding, federal rate cut policy over the last 20 years and understanding the history of how inflation, or just go watch it on YouTube. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to pay for stuff. Just go learn it. Just a little rant on learning stuff. That's going to be the show for today, guys. I'm really, really glad of our first week back. If you have comments or feedback for this first week, let me know. And I will catch you on Monday. Peace, guys.